My name is David Mays, your host and conductor for this edition of a show I call Along the Model Railroad Line, a show where we talk about the fun you can have playing with trains. And I play with trains. Okay. What I want to do here, I'm going to talk about and demonstrate a way I'm going to make some signs I can put along the little highway here on my switching layout. I got these little signs here I'm going to work with. So I'm going to just hold it up to the camera where you can see it. There you go. Those are HO scale models of the type of signs you might see along the road when you're approaching a grade crossing, a place where the railroad track crosses the road, and warns you, hey, watch out for the trains that might be coming by. So, like I said, I got to show you how I'm going to put these together and eventually mount them here, put them here on the train layout. So, invite you to tag along or get on board and take another trip along the model railroad line. And with that, I'm going to segue to the workbench. Alrighty, here at my workbench, going to show you how I made the signs I made to use on my scenery on my long railroad. What I'm talking about here is making little signs there you probably see alongside of a highway when you're approaching it, warning you that you're coming to a grade crossing, a place where the road's going to be crossing a rail line. They're pretty easy to make. Started out with product from a company called Tichy Train Group. This package on here says, Creative Model Associates, but like I said, the real company, made by a company called Tichy, still available. And like I said, these signs that you see, telling you that you're approaching a grade crossing, different styles. This one here is actually an older design. I modeled the World War II era. And this style was apparently real common around that time. And based on information I'm able to find on the internet, a couple other places, suggested they were in common use till maybe around 1950, when this other style that you tend to see more often, like that, started coming into use. Why they changed it, I don't know. But like I said, roughly speaking, before 1950, after 1950. Though in practice, I'm sure, out in the wild, you kind of saw them being mixed and matched together. So anyway, the signs as they come in the package are already mounted, on posts. They're all molded on here. Problem is, these things are real fragile, and most of these things have already broken. I mean, I got one here, still together, still on a post. But like saying, the posts themselves are real fragile. Shape-wise, they probably represent a pipe. They get signs were mounted, and most modern signs are mounted either on some sort of a pipe or maybe some, a piece of channel, steel channel, things like that. But in the good old days, a lot of times they're mounted on wooden posts. Usually maybe about 4x4, maybe 6x6. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Well, I got here again, got the parts themselves. What I'm going to do here, let's just set this stuff aside, get it out of the way. Do like that. And I'm going to take one of these that are already kind of broken and just modify it slightly so we can use it for a new sign. Got to take the sign, got to be mounted on some plastic strip. Here it is here by company, Evergreen Scale Designs, or Scale Scale Models. Okay, that's the name. They're a company that make the various products like plastic strips and plastic sheets, things like that. This particular product is supposed to be measure out to 4x4 inches in HO scale. So for my purposes, it'll work real good. Also, another thing is it's already this white color, and apparently, research suggests a lot of times these wooden posts would be painted white. Some may have been painted black based on the photos I've seen, but most appear to be painted white. And of course, that's because at the time they didn't have all the wood preservatives they use now for things like wooden posts or other wood they might be using outside, like on a deck or whatever. And so they would have painted them, and painted white is a common color. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this sign, just kind of flip it over, set that one aside. Now, as far as getting rid of this, these posts, that's real easy. You just take a knife and And find the air. That's one for. Here. Oh, there it is. Okay, here. Okay, just take like suck, a chisel blade. Just get down here. Here, turn a light on. There we go. And let me put this on. Got a little kind of thing here with magnifier in it. Where that, and you just see things. And again, you just get in here with this chisel blade. Just get in here close and get down there around the edge. Just push down on, just pop that loose. Okay. And of course, you could use this, to cut away the little ridge right here against that pipe. But what I prefer to use rather than this, a couple tools to use. One other tool will be this thing here that is used for cutting, you got a part on a sprue or whatever. Let's get in here real close. It's kind of got flushed on one side. So when you get in there, kind of like that, just squeeze it, pops right off. It'll have a more or less flush cut right there. Now you could use this to cut that little bit of plastic away, but it does take a little bit of effort. It's, got to really get in there and squeeze it. What I like to use are this tool here, again, some flush cutting wire cutters. They're made for cutting soft metal, brass, or nickel, silver. I got these specifically for cutting rail. Then you get in there where you need to cut the rail, to squeeze it, and you'll end up with, again, one side will get cut, will be flush, and then cut down the amount of filing you have to do. What I'm going to do here, use this, get down there again, just get there where that little ridge is, just kind of give a little squeeze, and just cuts right through. And that piece just goes flying off into the neither worlds. Over here, same thing. I make sure it's down there flat. There you go. Just set that aside. And then, still got a little bit of a ridge right there. So I'm going to file that away. Again, a couple ways to do that. Just take a little needle file. Just get in there. You have to kind of hold on to it with your fingers like that. Again, you just kind of start rubbing that across like that. There you go. Just keep going until you get flat surface there. Twist that around. Gotta be careful. This thing doesn't slip out and go flying off into the nether regions. There you go. Got that pretty flat. Now what I like to do, put that aside. Grab this thing, a little sanding stick people buy, to kind of work on their fingernails. And kind of do the same thing. What I got to try to do is flip this over, put that there flat, put the little sign there on top of it, and it should be able to just start rubbing it back and forth. Don't push down too hard, like that. Just kind of file that down just a little bit more so you get a nice flat surface. There you go. Real nice there. Right? Close look there. Maybe a little bit of a ridge there. Just do like that. Just get in there. Okay. Now, obviously, this is serve a couple of purposes. Again, getting the back surface of the sign flat, but also puts roughens up the surface of the sign a little bit, which will help with the next thing I do. Most of these signs, are made of metal. Modern ones are made of aluminum sheet metal. Older ones would have been steel sheet metal, probably galvanized. And of course, you look at the front of the sign, it's painted. But if you look at the back side, a lot of times they get a little dirty. Maybe, it would be painted. It might still get a little dirty, a little rusty. So to kind of simulate that weathering, you got to take this pencil. This is a mechanical pencil. I think it's number 2. Yeah. And go back in and just scribble on the back side a little bit. Just kind of don't have to do it. Don't have to cover everything. And then take my finger, just rub that thing, that graphite away. Got to smear it around. And what you'll get, of course, is a kind of dirty effect. There you go, like that. Like that, a little subtle weathering. Do that again. Yeah, there you go. Just rub that off. Okay, get a little, subtle, but gives a weathered effect. Now, next thing, I'll just put that there. Take a strip of that styrene. This is an HO scale, works out to 4 by 4 inches, 4 by 4 posts. According to my research, it's this, how tall this sign is determined by basically the distance from the bottom of the sign down to a point that matches the highest point on the road the sign is being mounted next to. So if you got a, asphalt road, got that little crown on it, if the crown is, say, like 4 inches above the edges, then this sign is supposed to be 7 feet above that crown. Now, I have read that if that's what you need to be, say, in a city or urban area. But if you're out in the country, you could get away with 5 foot. So I'm going to kind of go with the 7 foot mark and determine how long I need to make the signpost. The sign itself measures out. Here, get my scale ruler, made by a company called General. So easy. And just real quick, folks may be new to the hobby. They use these rulers, for measuring things because it's divided up in the, just like the scale ruler. So it's divided up in the measurements you need for whatever scale you're working. This edge is for HO. The other edge is both O scale. I think you got S scale on here too. And then you turn around and get, N scale along here. And then you got, your English or, English measurements. And over here you got metric, millimeters. Plus some other information here about various, how to determine the size of screws, things like that. Anyway, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to measure the size of this sign. It works out to approximately 2.5 feet, or basically 30 inches across. Okay, so doing a little math, we want the base, the bottom of the sign to be approximately 7 feet off the ground. So we'll need a signpost that's at least 9.5 feet long in HO scale, and then we'll add a couple more feet at the bottom, so you got something, when you plant it in the ground, you got something to work with, which works out to like 11.5 feet. So I'm just going to round off 12. Okay, keep things simple. Now just take the scale ruler, just put the plastic next to it, now line it up at the 0 mark. There we go. And come down here to the 12-foot mark, right about there. Grab the chisel blade and get in here. There you go. Get there, that 12-foot mark, and just push down on it, and there you go. Cuts it right off. Now, obviously, if you only need to do a couple of these, just doing it like this, like with a ruler, real easy. If you ever find yourself needing to do a lot of cutting, pieces of the same length, might be worth get one of these. Just do a promotion. Something called a chopper. It's made by Northwest Short Line. Real handy. Just kind of got a little thing here. You got to mount, adjust that to how the length of the piece you need to cut, and then just push down, cuts it, and just repeat the cuts as needed. A very handy tool. Okay. But for what we're doing now, what I want to do now is take this piece of plastic. I'm going to go over again with a sanding stick. Just rough up the edge on it a little bit, like that. Then the other side, get right there, same thing. Get that fourth side, the same thing. Kind of flip it around, make sure I got both ends. And here. That, flip it over. There you go. All right. Now, what reason I'm doing that has to do with helping me to weather this this post. What I'm gonna do, got the number 2 pencil again. Put a few streaks of graphite along the edge, on the side here. That might be too heavy, but getting there a few places. Like that. And then go back and just pull this thing between my thumb and finger and just kind of spread that stuff out. Spread the graphite around. And what it's doing is it's creating a subtle bit, a little bit of subtle weathering. I mean, these signs obviously fresh from the shop. They'll be, stark white. But if they've been out in the weather for a while, they're going to show a little bit of signs of wear and tear. Nothing serious. But the color will probably start to get a little dirty. Start being able to see the wood grain, things like that. And of course, on this size, it's probably not going to be all that obvious, and you don't have to do this, but yeah, a little bit of subtle weathering. So give that use looked in. Just kind of pull it between your fingers, spread it out. If you want to get real dirty, you probably come in here with a knife and go in there and cut lines on it. So that's wood grain. Yeah. Let's see. One more. There you go. Like that. Let's see. One more. And here you go. All right. So kind of just dirty it up a little bit. Now, like I said, normal viewing distance, it might not be that obvious, but get up close, you do get to sense there's maybe a little bit of wood grain. Okay, now next thing I do, just gotta just set that like that. Put those out of the way. Get my tweezers. Gotta pick up that sign. Okay, what I'm gonna do, let's see, scrap that. Gotta set that on top of the sanding stick right now like that, so it's easy for me to come back in a minute and grab it, like that. Go back here. Get some plastic cement. In this case, I'm using testers. Open that up. And put a little dab of cement on his top edge here, kind of right at the end. Hold on. Just a little bit. A little dab will do you. Seal that up and get it out of the way so I don't knock it over. Then pick up the sign. There you go. Make sure it's got a good grip on it. Then come over here and set it on top of the post where we just put the glue. There you go. Push it down on a little bit. Take a closer look at it so you make sure you got everything lined up. There you go. Get back down. Just do that. Make sure it's tucked down. There we go. All right. Look like good on the back side. Give that a little time to dry. And then got a sign ready to go, that's ready to be planted next to your highway, but the warn your HO or scale model motorists that they're getting ready to cross some railroad tracks. So with that, we'll give you a minute. And with that, we'll go ahead and kind of segue back to the layout, and we'll go ahead and plant this. Okay, we've segued back over here to the layout. I'm going to show you how I'm going to plant this sign that we put together. Got to kind of put it right around this area here. There are regulations, rules, whatever, that talk about where signs are supposed to be in relationship to the road they're next to, or where the road crosses the tracks, things like that. But of course, on our model layouts, we may not have the distances like they have, in real life. And so we may have to kind of squeeze things together, compromise. But in that case, then we could just kind of go for what it looks right. And in my opinion, a good place to put this sign would be right around here. So what I'm going to do, got this little tool here. It's basically a little pin vise with a 1/16 drill bit in it. I'm going to take that, like I said, put something right about there. And press that down. Just starts drilling and pushing down through there. There we go. Like that. Doesn't have to go too deep. As I've said in earlier videos, the scenery here is made up of extruded styrofoam with a layer of a paper mache type material, which is then covered with, dirt and wooden scenic foam, ground up foam rubber, stuff like that, and just held down, with a glue and water mixture. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to plant the sign and go like that. Okay, kind of just poke it down in there. There you go. Now, I could leave the sign like it is, but what I want to do is I'm actually going to glue it. Got some of this contact cement. Just take the lid off, set that aside, just kind of squeeze out, get a little bit oozing out. Just pull that out and just kind of poke it down in there like that. Okay, here, gotta get where the camera can focus. There you go. Just a little dab will do you. Okay. And then go back, find the little hole and just push it down in there, just down a little bit. The height that looks right. And just grab the lid for the glue, make sure to put that back on. There we go. As I was saying earlier in the video, there are rules about how tall the sign should be. Apparently most signs, highway signs, are supposed to be 7 feet from the bottom of the sign itself down to a point along the post that would be equal to the highest point on the road. So again, looking at it, good enough, looks right. And put a couple of cars on here, like that. And now our little scale figures, scale people can go drive around the highways on our layout and know that they're safe because we got signs that warn about things like grade crossings. Make sure that they, watch out for the train, that any time can be train time. All righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration about how you can put signs on your layout, kind of add to the scenery, things like that. Kind of a little way to help warn the little motorists driving around layouts that to be aware that they're approaching a grade crossing and to watch out for the trains. And little projects like this, kind of something kind of simple, easy to do. I mean, we can get all involved in creating these empires like this, or working on locomotives, super detailing a freight car or structure, things like that. And it's nice though to be every now and then, slow down a little bit, do something simple like put a sign on the layout, things like that. Anyway, again, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Been getting some good feedback about what I've been doing so far, and I appreciate that. And I invite you to somewhere around here, if it ain't here yet, it will be here in a minute, a link to another video where I talked about this grade crossing, how I made that. So I invite you to check that out, and just stay tuned. We'll meet up again and take another trip along the Muller Railroad line. In the meantime, you have a good day. We'll talk soon. Bye.